Every city you burn, I'm gonna build one high.
Greetings, fellow Empyreans. I am Astarothi, the voice of New Eden, and it is November 8th, YC126, and this is the Eve Universe Show 07 to you guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Settle on in. How's it going, guys? Oh, boy. So we did get the developer video, I guess, presentation today that wraps up all of our information about the Eve Revenant expansion. So all of our questions have been answered. The mysteries have been solved. The great reveals have been had. And yet somehow we still have no idea how mercenary dens work. I sat through that entire thing and I was like, how do you say so much while revealing basically nothing? But good news for all of us. They did have patch notes, which were only slightly as uninformative as the presentation. But even better than that, we have hobo leaks. So we actually do have all of the details. We have everything that we need sort of to know about what's coming tomorrow. We just have to dig through a lot of numbers. So before we begin, please like the stream. Have pity on me. I've been having to dig through all this stuff, and we're going to have to do a lot of extra legwork to catch up because CCP didn't. So yeah, make sure to like that stream and share it with friends. All right. Let's get started, shall we? Eve, oh god, hold on. I forgot this is still that way from yesterday. Eve Revenant expansion notes. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over the expansion notes, and I reserve the right to break off from them and run over to Hopa Leaks whenever I need to, because we're going to talk about the answers that we don't have in the expansion notes. So hopefully this is going to be a very edifying sort of stream, especially with all of this coming next week, so we don't have any time to prepare. Now, obviously, the stuff on Hobo Leaks is not Tranquility, so maybe some of it's going to be different, but whatever. Either way, so we can go through the expansion patch notes, and we've got, hello, expansion enjoyers. The Revenant expansion is arriving next week on the 12th of November, and it's been a tradition now. We are delivering the patch notes early so you can absorb everything that's coming. We invite you to join the player discussion on their release on the Discord or forums. Mercenary dens. Okay, so this is one of the big things, right? This is the big content. The Mercenary Dens is a brand new deployable structure anchored at skyhooks or on temperate planets. Blueprints to build the Mercenary Den can be purchased in Zarzak from the market in Fulcrum. To deploy one, you need to train a new Mercenary Den management skill, which only allows to control one Mercenary Den per level, for a total of 5 per character with max skills. Only one Mercenary Den can be on a skyhook at a time. So even under optimal conditions, you can only have 5 of these Mercenary Dens at one time. Keep that in mind as we think about what the balance of power between raiding versus owning space. Once a Mercenary Den has been successfully placed, it will passively generate encrypted infomorphs every hour. So that means a Mercenary Den must be on the field for a minimum of 1 hour before you can get anything, it would seem. These items can be either be sold on the market to other players or taken to Zarzak to exchange for rewards with the Deathless item traders. Those include the new Deathless ships, Breacher pod launchers, Breacher pods, skill books, and exclusive Skinner components. So we'll look at all of those. So it looks like we get the Mercenary Den blueprints just from the market in Zarzak, just like every other BPO. It's just for sale. And then you deploy these Mercenary Dens on places. You wait some time. You collect the infomorphs. You bring them to Zarzak. You turn them in. That's how you get skill books, BPC, sorry, skill books and BPCs. I'm going to go with BPCs for the new ships, launchers, and ammo, as well as some new Skinner components, which I think is basically just a Deathless logo, but we're going to have to see. Mercenary dens can only be accessed by the character which owns them. However, they are vulnerable to attack. Mercenary dens have so you can't like have one person drop it down and have another person come by later. Mercenary dens have a single 24-hour reinforcement timer with a 6-hour jitter, which the owner has no control over. So if it's hit at noon your time, then it'll come out sometime between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. your time the next day, which you have no control over. So the person that hits it almost guarantees that it'll be somewhere close to their time zone because it's going to be the next day, give or take 6 hours. The power of the timer is in the attacker. While reinforced, mercenary dens will continue to produce infomorphs, but they will not be able to be removed from the mercenary den until it leaves reinforced mode and has been repaired above 50% shields. Note that it automatically regenerates shields over a long time if no one comes to finish it off, but can also be manually repaired to full. If a mercenary den is just destroyed, it has a 50% chance to drop the encrypted infomorphs inside. So, so that means that, oh, God, this is... Okay. So, like... Okay, additional feature coming with Revenant, planned for 26th of November. So this is the 26th of November. So this is not next week. This is 2 weeks later. Mercenary dens will occasionally bring their owners an opportunity to run mercenary tactical operations, which are similar to existing PvE content, such as missions or escalations. MTOs are aimed for a single player in a cruiser, and successfully completing them will give rewards and also increase the development and decrease the anarchy levels of the associated mercenary dens. There's two concepts, development and anarchy. Shortly after Revenant, mercenary dens will have two parameters, development and anarchy. Development is generated over time, and when successfully completed mercenary den tactical operations. Higher development levels will cause the mercenary dens to increase production yield of infomorphs over time. So infomorphs are actually going to be slow at first, ramping up over time, especially if you're running these sites. Sorry, I've got hair in my ear cup. Anarchy is also generated over time and decreases when successfully completed mercenary den tactical operations. Higher anarchy levels will cause the skyhook. It's placed on to siphon workforce production, preventing the workforce from being used by the Sov owner. So when you just deploy one of these mercenary dens, it doesn't impact the clone production at all. However, these new sites will spawn in a couple of weeks, and running those sites will increase the development over time and reduce the anarchy. Not running the sites will increase the anarchy, and that will begin to cause damage to the Skyhook's production, which could theoretically disrupt, have knock-on effects if that clone bank, or if those clones are necessary for some systems upgrades, right? It could theoretically get a systems upgrades to be shut down. However, like the thing is that there's two different users that are going to be doing this, right? You have the owners of the system itself, and then you have invaders, right? So obviously I'm going to be looking at it from like an invader point of view, given the fact that I work for the Deathless and live out of Zarzak and do not have Sov. But both of those are going to be, practical things. Now, as a person that owns Sov, this whole situation makes tons of sense, right? You as an individual can have up to 5 of these little things, and you get to, like, on a daily basis, you have to farm all the different sites, so you keep your anarchy down, and you raise your development up, so the longer you can keep it alive, the more of these infomorphs you get. And as long as you keep your anarchy down, then your bosses will be happy. If you let the anarchy get up, then your bosses will get mad. Nobody else can take your infomorphs in space, even your own allies, even if they can help you run the sites. Like, and every day you just come and, like, you get the stuff out of the infomorph, the thing, and you clean things up and you check to make sure that it's not reinforced, etc., etc. From a person who lives in nullsec, this makes a lot of sense, right? There's a new thing for you to do. An individual can deploy this thing and like have it be their little thing that they maintain every day for their group. It's actually pretty cool that way. For invaders, this makes no fucking sense. So you get to sneak into enemy territory, drop one of these things, wait at least an hour, preferably more, because who knows? It doesn't show any. We have no information about how much production is per hour or how many hours of production are required to actually get one of these blueprints. If I wanted to get a destroyer ASAP, how many of these mercenary dens are going to am I going to have to run for how long in order to get that new ship? I don't know. You don't know. No one knows outside of CCP because they haven't given us any kind of numbers that I know of yet. So if you're an invader, you have to put it down, wait, probably run the sites so that way you don't get detected. They could come by and kill it at any time, although it takes 24 hours. But it's like, are you really going? Like, if you're deep into enemy territory, you just drop one of these things sneakily and they reinforce it. Are you really going to be showing up there to defend it? Probably not. So they just have a 50% chance of getting your loot instead. You got to run these sites, which how are you now? You're like, what, living in somebody else's space? It just, it makes almost no sense. Hold on a second. Oh my gosh. Hold on. Sorry, little Zoria ran off right before the show, and then I started smelling the fact that she decided to go to the bathroom while I was gone, while I was streaming. So I decided to go clean that up real quick, so I didn't have to smelt the entire stream. I apologize. All right, so like we will be able to do this. I plan on doing this, and there are some other details. So like some details that we need to have about the mercenary dens that aren't here. Okay, so they talked about it being relatively easy to be deployed by an individual person. They talked about it, like, yeah. Oh my God. Hobeleaks. The problem with big patches like this is that when I try to pull it up on Hobeleaks, it literally causes my computer to cry because it's trying to load so much stuff at the same time. Here we go. There's the mercenary den. Mercenary den. Depending on the size of the commodity infomorphs, you might need to send 2 ships to even farm this one, farm sites to carry infomorphs back to Zarzak. Yeah, I hadn't really thought of that, but I don't think that I think we can look up the size of the infomorphs. Hold on. Oh man, my computer. Hang in there, buddy. So much stuff on this page that's trying to load at the same time. Come on. We'll just wait. Oh, come on. Don't lock up. Everything's freezing. Am I still here? Okay, I might be back. There we go. Okay. Cool. Oh my God, it locked up again. Damn it. Bear with me, guys. Okay, so we can see here, one of the things that stood out to me right away when it comes to these mercenary dens, hopefully you can still hear me and everything's not super choppy. Hold on. I'm getting errors and stuff. Oh my God, why did you shrink back up again? Like the stream, I'm dealing with all these challenges. Wouldn't an infomorph be information? Theoretically, I mean, like, infomorphs are definitely just data, but at the same time, there is a certain like ghost in the machine aspect to infomorphs. Why is this locking up every single time I try to expand it big enough to be useful? Hold on. Oh my gosh. Come on. So normally, and it just shrunk down again. Whatever. I'll just start talking. Mercenary dens are interesting because if you look here, oh my god. Deploy best Eve solution, deploy to Excel. It's true. Can I wish I could. I had thought about that before the stream. Like, oh, I could probably just copy all this stuff into an Excel document. It keeps shrinking back down. Okay. Why are you doing this? Oh, wait, I got an idea. Maybe if I take it over here. I swear, as soon as I start to bring it more than a certain, either way, oh my god. The point is, mercenary dens are only 50 meters cubed, I think. Their volume is registered as 50, which means that... Why does it keep going back down? Which means it's going to be really easy to carry these things around to deploy them. You can deploy them from even an exploration frigate. But if you're expected to do the idea of embedding yourself into an enemy area with a cruiser, dropping this thing, and then just hanging out there for a while, that's a valid, that seems to be what they're asking us to do. But that seems like a really weird thing to do, doesn't it? Hold on. I'm going to close these other tabs because I think that's what's going to be causing, or these other things, and we'll get back to it. Man, things don't want you guys to have this information. You notice that? It does seem kind of underwhelming. Bring more on a mercenary den deployment roam. Yeah, each person can only deploy 5. And the idea would be what? You come back later to check on your own mercenary dens? But that kind of counters the whole idea of wormholes or filaments being used to put these in. You kind of have to have a reliable way to ingress into a particular system for this to be useful over time to an invader. Okay, can I expand this out now without people freaking out? Yeah? Okay, can I go like this? Oh my god, we're on to something. We're on to something. We did it. We did it, fam. I think that's how it goes. Mercenary dens. Okay, great. So what we can see here is, like I said, it has a volume of 50, so it's relatively small. And it has a shield capacity of 500,000 and a structure hit point of 500,000 with a resistances of... I can't remember if that's 25% or 75%? Hold on, let's go find out. Everything. Everything causes it to lag. It's crazy. That's probably a bad choice to pick. So the Tholos. We can double check right now because it says under the expansion notes we have attributes, right? Shield thermal resistance 20%, kinetic 40%, explosive 50%. So we go here. Shield kinetic resistance 0.6. So, yep. Okay, so this is the multiplier. So this is actually, it's a weird way of putting it, but like this 0.6 means that you take 60% of the kinetic damage. So it's actually a 40% reduction, right? So knowing that, let's go back to the mercenary den. When my computer feels like doing it. And we see that, so it's got 25% resistances across the board with 500,000 hit points and a single reinforcement timer that is a 24-hour timer. In addition to that, it has an anchoring delay of what? Is that milliseconds? Or is that seconds? Oh, God. Hold on. Oh, okay. So it's a 10-minute anchoring. So you put it down. So you have to be there for at least an hour and 10 minutes in order to get anything from it at all. Is sensor strength, which doesn't mean anything. It's got this real long shield recharge time. That's what's going to repair it if somebody hits it. Is there a blueprint, a BPC, or is it a BPO? I think that the Mercenary Den is going to be a BPO because it's bought on the market. But the ships, ammo, and all that stuff that you're going to get for turn-ins are going to be BPCs. Yes, the Mercenary... Yes, Sutonia just confirmed the Mercenary Den. So all of this begins in Zarzak with a BPO that can be purchased, which is this blueprint, right? And we see that it has a base price of, let's see, 100 million. So 100 million ISK for the blueprint, and then you can research it up if you want. Yep. Now, let's look at what it takes to build a mercenary den, because they don't say that either. Ignoring all these mutaplasmids for a second. In the blueprint section, we see the mercenary den requires one broadcast node, one self-harmonizing power core, 2 recursive computing modules, and 3 organic motor applicators. These are all PI, and these immediately jumped out at me. If we come here and we look at the gantry for customs offices, we'll see that in order to turn a gantry into a POCO, it requires 8 broadcast nodes, 8 recursive computing modules, 8 self-harmonizing power cores, and 8 wetware mainframe, which is actually not the same stuff, right? Hold on. Self-harmonizing power core, broadcast node, recursive computer module. Okay, so instead of wetware mainframe, it's organic mortar applicator, which, if I remember correctly, the organic mortar applicators were part of the Consortium Mobile Tractor Unit. They were part of some of the turn-ins recently. I think they were part of some like either the Shadow War turn-ins, but now I don't see anything about it. Are we having specific Deathless LP? No. I guess the gantry does require it. So again, everything begins with this Mercenary Den blueprint, which is purchased in Zarzak for 100 million ISK. It takes 6 hours and 40 minutes default to manufacture. It takes those PI plus 200 megasite, 1,000 Zydrine, 2,000 Isogen, 2,000 Noxium, 25,000 Mexilon, 90,000, 90,000? Yeah, 90,000 Pyrite and 100,000 Tritanium. So not a ton of material required to build it. Let's go to Janus and see. Is there anything requiring Adavam to turn in? Yes. So we can see that it will cost about 20 million a piece to get a mercenary den, and they're worth they're about 50 meters cubed, which means that the primary challenge for these mercenary dens is the actual operation of them themselves. So they're super fucking convenient for the nullsecers that want to use it to make their sites and to get extra income off of their skyhooks and stuff. All of the challenging stuff it basically expects you to be living there, which kind of feels against the spirit of like going in as a deathless thing. But maybe the deathless is just trying to court the nullsecers. We can't even go in and raid these things without, because you can't. If you reinforce it, you got to come back in 24 hours, and you can't steal from it. It's funny because, like, during the presentation about this stuff, they were talking about, like, oh, we need to make some smaller structures that lets you just deploy little tiny things that you can mess with the bigger structures. And I'm like, did CCP Rattati in 2024 just invent the siphon unit? Because we already had the siphon unit. Why are they acting like it doesn't exist? Maybe it's on purpose that they're acting like it doesn't exist. I clicked on a thing and now it's punishing me for it. Okay. So now once you get one of these things, you go and deploy it. Yeah, no, it says in the patch notes that only the owner of the mercenary den can pull the components out. What? Okay. Only the owner can pull the components out. However, anybody, I assume anybody with a cruiser can run the sites that will give their own rewards too. So, yeah. Let's see. So once you've deployed this thing, hold on a second. I probably just made a mistake, but let's just hurt my computer. Really? Harada Oki Infomorph Transport, Haraka Oki Adavam Transport. So these are the turn-in points. Here we go. Yeah. This ship is willing to exchange Deathless Faction blueprints for additional encrypted infomorphs, and this ship is willing to exchange Deathless Faction blueprints for additional Adavam. So the real answer is that we can still get this stuff by finding Adavam in relic sites. You do not need the you don't necessarily need the encrypted infomorphs for that. That said, hold on. We have actually encrypted infomorphs are already in the game. Encrypted infomorphs they have a volume of 0.1. Now, we don't know how many of them are going to be brought in. Like, I don't know how many are going to be produced, and I don't know how many are going to be required to turn in. But each one of them is going to be 0.1 M3. Can they be unplugged and reused? Which ones? The mercenary dens? That's actually one thing that they didn't talk about at all, which is the idea of being able to scoop a mercenary den. I assume that it's just not scoopable. I don't think we have... We haven't gotten solid confirmation either way on that, but I think it's... yeah. So... It is also worth noting that there is actually a second mercenary den, which is... There's a faction mercenary den. The Seneschal Mercenary Den. Which increases its tank, basically. If we look here... It has the same volume and what, like twice as much? It's a bit more special if you read the description of the encrypted infomorph or of the den. So the Deathless Circle has developed an open source facility known throughout the cluster as Mercenary Dens, allegedly designed as a hub for Upwell clones. Oh, the center. Yeah, we'll get there in a second. Allegedly designed for as a hub for Upwell clones to relax and rest and relax. They've quickly become congregating points for mercenaries looking for work and clones seeking to escape it. This facility provides an ideal environment for enjoying alcoholic drinks, watching the latest scope broadcasts, and engaging in impromptu combat training. The Deathless has released a statement that any Upwell legal teams bothered about misuse of the transmural echo burn scanner booths included with the structure should kindly leave and pass away peacefully. Please note at this time, mercenary dens can only sustain themselves when linked to a nearby temperate skyhook. And then they have, what, 50... Okay, so that's 500,000... Or, sorry, 50,000 hit points, we said. And then the Seneschals... Lock up my computer again. In anticipation of aggression from Capsuleers and other hostile... Oh, yeah. I do know that, Satonia. Yeah. In anticipation of the aggression from Capsuleers and other hostile agents targeting mercenary dens without provocation, the Deathless Circle has released an upgraded variant of the base structure featuring enhanced shielding, armor, and hull strength. Additionally, small Deathless Circle pilots fleets patrol near the Seneschals, attacking anyone who initiates aggressive actions against the structure. So this will provide you some very basic defenses. We don't know how strong those defenses are necessarily, but there is actually rats that will protect your mercenary den if you get the upgraded one. It also has like a 1/5, the 20% or so additional hit points, it looks like, and slightly better resistances. It is kind of neat. I like it. I actually think that there should be more player deployable structures with defenders on it. That's actually a pretty cool idea. Okay, so we got through the mercenary dens for the most part. We don't really know how much the infomorphs and all that stuff, how much they'll be produced, what the sites are going to look like, except for the fact that they're going to be runnable by cruisers, and how the turn-in requirements are going to be. But moving on. Deathless ships. 2 new Deathless ships are being released with the Revenant expansion. Deathless ships are exclusively able to fit a new breacher pod launcher, damage over time weapons. They also feature high amounts of mid slots for extensive utility and flexibility, active shield tanking bonuses, average speed but have powerful web resistance bonuses, a large drone base for their class, and damage bonuses to both projectile weapons and close-range missiles, allowing them to do extensive DPS up close, even without the breacher pod weapon, and finally, the ability to fit Cloverdop's cloaking devices. Okay, so what do we got here? We have, we should probably pull up like another destroyer to compare it to. But let's see. Anything good here that jumps out at me? Fitting. We got 6 high slots, which is relatively low for a destroyer. 6 medium slots, 2 low slots, 2 launcher hard points, and 2 turret hard points. Now, the I don't think that the breacher pods require a hard point at all. So what we're looking at here is your 6 high slots are going to be 2 missiles, 2 turrets, and a breacher pod, as well as your Covert Ops cloaking device as your standard loadout. Does not use a hard point. Yeah, so I'm correct. So you've got 2 turrets, 2 missiles, a breacher pod, and a Covert Ops cloaking device, more or less. Now, you don't see anything because I'm not showing it. Here we go. It also does have a drone bandwidth of 25 megabytes per second, which means, theoretically, this thing is like, it's not quite an Algos because Algos has more than that. And of course, it doesn't have any drone damage bonuses. And Algos has 35 meters M3 or bandwidth. So, but it is like, it's going to field 5 small drones along with everything else, which has me pretty excited. So it's bringing a full complement. It's bringing turrets, it's bringing missiles, and it's bringing drones. Which means, of course, that you need to have all 3 of those skills trained up for it to be really, really good. In addition to that, so we've got a big bonus to shield booster amount. So active reps, expect to see, especially given the fact that this is a brawler, expect to see like double ASB setups with just tons and tons of shield boosts as a way of keeping you alive. 25% bonus to stasis web of fire resistance total. Stasis web of fire resistance is something we've never actually really seen in the game very much. It effectively makes it so that webs don't slow you down. Like a quarter of the value of the web is just removed. So it's going to be good. Plex sales and skill points are going to be high in the next 4 days, possibly. So then it has 150% bonus to small projectile turret and rocket damage. So it basically doubles, more than doubles turret and rocket damage. And it's immune to cargo scanners, which is pretty fun. But so that's going to do quite a bit of damage, I want to say, but only if you can bring small projectile turrets and rockets, not missiles, because this is not light missiles. This is rockets. Rockets are what I like to call the shotguns of missiles. This is important because, like, they want these things to be super close range. Missiles are often known for being long range, so having it be restricted to rockets basically restricts it to short range. You could still do artillery, but light artillery doesn't shoot that far. But really, with everything else going on, you're going to want to go with autocannons, rockets, breacher pod, go, 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 right? It also might be worth, here's something to think about. It might be worth, instead of using damage drones, since you've got so much other damage coming to bear, imagine bringing 5 ECM drones. So that way you get in there, you're breaking through all of their webbing. You need to get out. They have you scrammed or whatever. Like your ECM drones can jam them and free you enough to get away. Toxic, yeah, exactly. Yeah, ECM drones plus breacher pod equals... Oh, I'm going to make people so mad. So mad. Yeah, light ECM drones just to be annoying. Exactly. You can do some fun multi-prop setups, especially with the PC. Yeah, well, you've got plenty of mid slots, right? You could do all kinds of fun stuff. You could actually have like a pair of these dudes. Like you could have ECM jammers, so that way one person goes in and one person is like away and like jamming, and then they swap a swap potentially. So then we get the cenotaph. Okay, this is the one that Satonia was just talking about. We get the bonus to shield booster amount, and then we get the stasis web of fire bonus, or resistance bonus. Then we get medium projectile turrets and heavy assault missile damage. So once again, close range missiles, a ham medium artillery or autocannon. But oh my god, I'm gonna fly these things. All right, 50% bonus to command burst area effect range, almost moot at this point. 25% bonus to medium projectile turn, optimal range and fall off, and missile velocity. So this actually does have... I thought that the battlecruiser was losing its projection bonus. Also, isn't it really weird that the mercenary den sites are designed for cruisers, and yet the ships that we get is a destroyer and a battlecruiser? I hope that the battlecruiser can run the sites. Okay, okay. Dog and cat. Fighting like dogs and cats. Come on. All right, Zoe. Hi. Hi. What do you think about the cenotaph? Do you like it? What do you think about the Patchnotes changes? We haven't gotten to them yet. No? Not happy? Not happy about them? Okay. Oh. Okay. Cloak reactivation delay to 15 seconds. Immune to all cargo scanners. Now, one thing that's worth noting... Wait, Covert Ops... Does Covert Ops have a calibration time? I can't remember if the Covert Ops cloaking device is the thing that just gets rid of... No, they've got a 10-second recalibration time. So that is actually an interesting point to all of this, which is that it has no bonus against recalibration time. So even if it's going to come out of cloak, be really close to everybody, and for 10 seconds or so, not be able to lock anything. That's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. The Deathless ships are available exclusively as blueprint copies from Deathless item traders, which can be found in Zarzak. Players can turn in additives found in exploration sites and encrypted infomorphs from mercenary dens to purchase them. So there you go. I don't think we get too much more. Safely haul Morphite and Plex through UDOM. The problem with cargo scanning immunity is that everyone just assumes that you've got something huge. 15-second reactivation like bombers and SOE ships, right? Yeah. So this reactivation time is like when you decloak, how long it takes for you to be able to recloak again, right? And then if we look at the hobo leaks for it, we can go actually look at the blueprints. No. What have I done? So the Taipan... Wait, no, that's different. The Tholos and the Cenotaph, right? That's the ones we're looking at. So here's the weird thing about these two, and this is something I don't quite understand yet. So the Cenotaph takes life support backup units, auto integrity preservation system seals, and all of the different minerals. A Cenotaph build cost is about 100 to 110 million ISK total, which is fine. Likewise, the Thalos costs about 5 to 6 million ISK each. The thing that I find really weird about these ship blueprints is, you know what they're missing? Net resonators. So like these ships are, wait a minute. Yeah, these ships are pirate line ships, right? They have a Caldari bonus and they have a Mimitar bonus. They are a pirate ship. And every pirate ship requires the net resonator for that type, just like faction, like capitals and stuff require the condensers doodads for their stuff, right? Like that's one of the whole things. These ships do not require any net resonators. In fact, they have the same effective requirement as something like Triglavian ships, right? Like a Vedmak. Actually, that's a really good question. Hold on. Let's go with a Kikimora. You're not going to be able to see the Kikimora per se. I'm going to pull it up. It's right here. In the industry, we see that the Kikimora takes 4,300 tritanium, where this takes 43,000 versus 96,000. Pyrite is 7,290 versus 18,000. So it takes very close to about double the materials that the Kikimora does. Oh, wait, no, the Kikimora doesn't even require net resonator or life support backup units and auto integrity preservation seals. Did it used to? Wait, what? There was a time in which trig ships required those, right? I'm not totally crazy. All right, well, fine. Kikis don't require it. Whatever, fine. Let's look at instead. No, there are no trig net resonators because they're not a pirate ship. That's why I was trying to compare it to them, because I thought that the way I remembered it, trig ships had minerals and the life support backup units and all that stuff, but didn't require racial. But I could very well be wrong. Let me just double check one more time. Wait, I'm dumb. I'm so dumb. Am I so dumb? I am so dumb. I am so dumb. I got it. No. I was right. You all are wrong. Everybody who questioned me, you're wrong. I forgot. I was looking at the reprocess value, not its actual blueprint. And you don't get auto integrity preservation seals or life support backup units from reprocessing. So here you go. The Kikimora takes 80,000 tritanium versus the Tholos's 96,000 tritanium. It takes 15,000 versus 18,000 pyrite. 5,000 versus 6,000 Mexilon. It requires 20 auto integrities versus 24 auto integrities. So the Tholos is actually a little bit more expensive than a Kikimora in essence, but honestly takes a lot of the same stuff. Actually, the big difference is, you know what the makeup is? The trig stuff does require also the crystalline and 0-point condensate, which is probably going to make up for those slight lower numbers. So it's basically the equivalent. Let's look at the Meku Ball. The Meku Ball requires, hold on, this is even more interesting. So the Mecha Ball requires 96, I'm trying to like make it so you can see the stuff from behind me. Thanks, Head, figured it out. Anyway, 90,000, oh, no, it's the exact same. 96,000 tritanium here, 96,000 tritanium here, 18,000 pyrite, 18,000 pyrite. So it is the exact same build cost, including the auto integrity and life support backup units. It is only missing the net resonators, which, okay, to me, this is a big red flag. This suggests to me that there may be a deathless net resonator that we just haven't gotten yet. Somebody can, like, maybe this is true, maybe it's not. But right now, it looks like these deathless ships are going to be the only ships in the game to not require net resonators. Maybe, you know what? Here's a theory. Net resonators are tech that was developed by the deathless. So maybe the deathless ships don't need extra net resonators. They're already built into their design. Who knows? I don't know. It's weird. But it does seem like the Thelos will be a little bit cheaper than the Mecha Ball to build based on that information alone. Oh yeah, no, there's a lot of existing in the pirate militia isn't really a very pleasant experience in the same way as being part of like the Galente militia used to be. That's for sure. Yeah. All you people that knew I was dumb, thank you. Thank you for letting me get to my own realization of it. Anywho, so yeah. There we go. And then I assume, just to check, we have the Kizriel. The Kizriel has 3.36. Yep, same amount of titanium. All this stuff is the same. So the battlecruiser and destroyer are the same build requirements currently as the Kizriel and Mecha Ball, with the absence of the net resonators, which of course might change at some point, but who knows at this point? Okay, next. Breacher pod launchers, damage over time weapons. Revenant brings an exciting brand new weapon system, and for the first instance of damage over time effect in EVE Online, Breacher pod launchers come in two sizes, small and medium, and can only be fitted on the new deathless ships, the Tholos and the Cenotaph. Breacher pod launchers do not consume a launcher or turret hardpoint and fire Scarab breacher pods at their target. If a breacher pod hits a ship, then it'll apply damage over time effect. The Scarab breacher pods are similar to missiles. They will not affect their target unless they actually reach and hit, and can be killed with smart bombs before they arrive. Breacher pods can only be used on player ships and NPCs, and they cannot be used against targets such as capsules, structures, stargates, etc. They can't be used on capsules. That's what your autocannons are for. The damage over time effect from breacher pods does not use signature rating or radius or tracking like other weapon systems in the game. Instead, they apply a damage over every second based on the target's total hit points, raw, shield, armor, and hull hit points combined, or a flat damage cap number, whichever of these two is lower, which means that a ship with incredibly high hit points like a Titan will always take the flat damage cap, but a ship with low hit points like a Corvette will always take the percentage hit point damage instead. The damage over time effects will last between 50 and 75 seconds, depending on the user's skill level, and once hit, it will not clear until a player leaves the solar system or docks up. It can continue doing damage while the player is in warp, or while the player is tethered, That's nasty. The damage over time effect also completely ignores resistances, which means the effects will apply full damage to ships, which have used modules like the assault damage control and the emergency damage control. Can also apply damage to rock walls and ships under the effect of panic modules. Huh. Wow. Ooh. Oh. That has a lot of potential. That last line has a lot of potential because, so like right now, right now, the strategy is to wait as long as possible on your rook wall, and then hit the panic when you're like in deep hull, because that gives you the maximum amount of time to respond and the maximum amount of hit points to recover while you are in panic mode and therefore immune to damage. How long does panic last? Uh, 240 seconds. Guess what? That's going to last the entire time of my breacher pod. So imagine, if you will, just picture in your head, you get a Rookwall down, right? You get it down to hull. It hits its panic. The cenotaph decloaks and hits it, and it dies during panic. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. That really throws that strategy into question, right? I mean, obviously, if it has some local reps, it might be able to do something about it, but like that means those pods are going to be really, really valuable in that scenario. A player ship may only be affected by one damage over time effect at once. Getting hit with additional preacher pods just add another effect, which will take over when the previous one expires. Much like command bursts, if two players shoot the same target with breacher pods, then the player who has the stronger breacher pod effect will deal damage to the target, and the other one will remain inert unless the stronger effect expires. We can see here, maximum flight time, 4 seconds. Maximum velocity, 2,000 meters per second, so it's only going to go about 8,000 meters, although there is a skill to improve that. We'll look at that in a second. Scarab Breacher Pod S. Oh, no, sorry, 6 km with max skills. That's weird, because this seems to suggest it would be 6 kilometers with base skills. You would expect if skills were improving this, that the numbers would be green. But either way, Scarab Breacher Pods, 6 kilometers with max skills. Ha! Yeah, the point, yeah, it could be really bad for a mining fleet. Okay, so hit points per damage per second is 0.6. So 60% of the hit points, sorry, 0.6% damage per second, or 0.75% damage per second with max skills, with a maximum damage per second of 160, 200 with max skills, just from the breacher pod alone. 200 DPS for a destroyer from a single weapon system is pretty decent. Again, this lasts for 45 seconds, 75 seconds. So if we pull up the calculator here, we can see 75 times 0.75 equals. So the destroyer, if it's doing maximum damage, will do, or sorry, if it's doing the percent damage, rather, if it's doing its maximum percent damage, so it hasn't hit its maximum damage cap, so it's doing less than 200 damage per tick, it will do a total of 56% of the ship's raw hit points over the course of 75 seconds. Meanwhile, the battle cruiser has a it should be noted that while one target can take damage it should be noted that while one target can take damage from a damage over time effect at any time, you can place several damage over time effects on different player ships concurrently. For example, a medium breacher pod launcher has a rate of fire of 10 seconds with max skills, and dots that apply for 75 seconds with the max skills, which means that a cenotaph using breacher pod launcher could potentially have 7 dots applied to 7 different ships at once. Much like the Deathless ship's blueprint, copies for breacher pod launchers and Scarab breacher pod ammo can be obtained by trading addivums found from exploration or encrypted infomorphs generated from mercenary dens in Zarzak. So, and then this is 1% damage from max skills for 75 seconds. So that's 75% of the raw hit points total over the course of 75 seconds. If you're doing the maximum percentage. Maximum damage is going to be 800 DPS, 1,000 DPS with max skills. 5 new skill books are available to improve the effectiveness of breacher pod launchers and can be obtained through trading in Zarzak. Breacher pod launcher operation, which is that maximum percentage of target HP damage per second per skill level. I wonder if that also impacts the maximum cap HP damage, or just the percent. 5% maximum damage per second cap per skill level. Wait. Yeah, so this is like the Tech 2 or Tier 2 skill for this one. So they both kind of do the same thing, but when you're done, yeah, when you're done training this one, you can train this one. Breacher pod projection makes it so it shoots a little bit further. That's how you get that full 8 kilometers. Mobile observer units to try to spot those ships in mining areas before those troublemakers with new ships try to attack a mining fleet. Yeah, I mean, the key is that, like, as we said many times before, the solution to this is just having local reps, right? Like, if you can rep through it, then you're good to go. It by itself is not going to kill you. The point behind the whole Rorqual problem is that basically the Rorqual, the general behavior is to wait until your Rorqual is critically damaged, which is going to make it even harder to recover from those breacher pods. That's why that situation in particular. Yes, can't get reps on. That's what I'm saying. Like, that one scenario in particular is very much a trap. If you can manage to decloak a Cenotaph as soon as the Rorqual goes into panic, then guess what? You probably got him. Specialist training, cycle time, 10% reduction in cycle time per skill level. That's going to be useful for applying it to multiple targets. And then 10% damage increase to the effective duration per skill level. That one's going to be the most important one, in my opinion, is that longevity one, because that's how long it takes. That's how much time you have to do damage. And it, of course, impacts the total amount of damage it will do. All right. Anything else with these things? Oh, yeah. Let's go look at the build costs of these doodads. We have lots of blueprint. These are mutaplasmids. Here we go. Breacher pod blueprint. This is the ammo. Yeah. Medium breacher pod launcher blueprint. We've got basically just minerals. So the ammo and the launcher, which there's no Tech 2 of for either of them, or even there's no alternative ammo either. There's just one kind of ammo. All of it only takes minerals. So the idea of needing to have encrypted infomorphs in order to build ammo, not a thing. Sad. Disappointed. But either way, you can build ammo and you can build blueprints with just the minerals. It really seems like these things are going to be really easy to build as long as you can get the blueprints. Once again, I feel like, here's the problem. I feel like all of this is packaged up to feel like it's supposed to be for everyone, especially the people that are pro-deathless, you know? Like, it's all packaged to be like, oh yeah, if you were supporting the deathless, living in Zarzak, doing the insurgency stuff, like, this is an expansion of the deathless stuff. You should be happy. But everything about this seems to be catered directly to nullsec, basically exclusively. Like, they can run the infomorphs, they can turn it in, and they don't require anything new. Ammo BPO is a lot more expensive. Wait, no, you can't get a BPO. Oh, because of this cost? Yeah, you're not going to be able to get a BPO. I don't think. Because it says you have to do turn-ins. I still, in my heart of hearts, we are still using ammo. We are still using the encrypted infomorphs as ammo. But my point is that, like, there's no special doodads to build this stuff. The only thing that's required for the ships is the R4 reactables. So if you've got minerals and you've got R4 reactables, you can build all this stuff. The only thing you need is the BPCs, which requires a quick, like, Synesis shuttle down to Zarzak and stick stuff in, and then get your BPCs, come back to your nullsec pocket, and just build them. This really feels like a gift to them. There's no need for LP. There's no need for extra doodads to hunt down in exploration. There's no need for anything outside of any resources that you cannot harvest yourself in nullsec. So, yeah, it feels like they don't want to call this for nullsec. But it really feels like a lot of this is for nullsec, and then the rest of us can kind of play with it if we can get our hands on it. Don't get me wrong. So the other thing, here's the weird part about this, though. Here's the really weird part about it. Because it requires R4 reactables, you can have an R4 in nullsec, and you get R4 materials from higher tier moons. So you're going to be able to do your R4 reactables pretty easily in nullsec. You know where you can't do R4 reactables? Zarzak. So you can't actually build these ships in Zarzak with just the base materials. You have to do extra processing, i.e. the reactions, outside of Zarzak, and then bring them to Zarzak, so that way you can build this shit in Zarzak. There's no talk about whether or not these ships are going to be bonused for building in Zarzak, like the other pirate ships, which they should be, like the Angels and Garissa's ships. Nullsec has everything that they need to build these things. The people that live in Zarzak have to figure out how to deal with it. Now, you could argue that is very, like, that's the pirate way of doing things, right? Nullsec has everything within their own industrial base. The pirates have to go raid the people that have the shit in order to go get it. We could understand that. There you go. Let's pretend like, well, that's the enhanced infomorph whatever thingies in the description of the two ships, right? I mean, I'm still very excited about these things. I feel like I'm a little bit disappointed in the implementation of how these mercenary dens, because like everything about the mercenary dens feels like it should be something almost hostile to nullsec. It's like so if Equinox was packaged as a gift to nullsec, but was actually just more work and bullshit for nullsec and ways for us to interfere with nullsec, which is what it was originally before they did the skyhook changes to make them lock down. This is the opposite, right? It's packaged as if it's for everybody, but it's really just a gift to nullsec. I don't know. Not just a gift to nullsec. That's not the way of putting it. But they are going to have a lot of fun destroying each other's rock walls. You know, I did think about it, though. Like, so bringing a cenotaph. Hold on. Zarzak doesn't have any resources to build any ships. Everything needs to be shipped in from somewhere. Nullsec doesn't get the blueprint. I mean, that's fair. But my point is that, like, all I have to do is ship in raw materials. My point is that R4 reactions are an extra level of complication for how to get it done, and nullsec just has that given to them. How would have these played out before the skyhook changes? I think that they would have gone over better, right? Because they would have given more things to do and a lot of push and pull. I think that would have gone over better. We'll have to see how valuable the merc dens are for leeching off quiet nullsec areas. I agree. So the idea of, okay, I was going to look at Cenotaph for a second. I'm looking for cargo. Faster capacity. Chip bonus. Radius for graphics. Capacity? Is capacity it? Is that it? 425? So you could carry... So you could theoretically carry 2 or 3 of these things, yeet out to nullsec, drop them, and then covert ops cloak up. And then just hunt and haunt that system for a while. I'm a high-sec Care Bear. How would this affect me at all? It isn't. No. Nope. I was about to say, like, maybe there's some high-sec PvE that could be like, you might want to do this with, but probably not. The damage is actually going to be pretty low for PvE, especially considering how close you're going to have to be. Now I'm trying to think if there's anything for for high seckers, congratulations, you've got Skinner. You've got the Skinner improvements. Yeah. So, I mean, there's some potential here. We're going to get out there. We're going to see what we can do with it in about a week. But then again, I also have to have a Cenotaph in order to do this first. Ooh. Now I wonder how much... When they say that these sites can be done in a cruiser, I wonder if they mean a Stratios. Yeah, a Stratios can carry plenty of them. During wars in high-sec. But you can't use it on the structure. You might see them a little bit in, like... But he also specified high-sec Care Bear. So... Gankers aren't going to want to use them. Because you can warp off and lose your wreck halfway through warp. Yeah, I gotta say, the Deathless's preparation for war against the Drifters is not going to really influence the high-sec Care Bears very much, unfortunately. Okay, let's see, what else? Skinner Paragon updates. We pretty... Paragon is proud to announce that Capsuleers can now target skin listings to specific characters, corporations, or alliances when creating public or private listings. We've already talked to this. Basically, it's real simple. You can now do private, corporation, and alliance contracts, or sales with Skinner, which is really, really good. And when you do that, it costs Evermarks instead of taking a cut out of the price of the skin, which is also really, really good. So, yay, that. Also, branded listings. Buyers will not have to pay for any Skinner service fees on branded listings. However, Evermark fee will be charged per skin based on the skin tier. It's the brand manager. Elevate your own skin design. You can now you can have a secondary pattern and nano coating for it. Very cool. There's blend modes based on that. Very, very cool. I can't say more besides very, very cool without getting our hands on it. But I do plan on, like, doing some cool, like, hey, let's make some cool skins stream. Here's the thing. In my opinion, with the ability to control who you're selling the skins to and this additional customization, and this is kind of what CCP said too, like, congratulations, this is actually the real Skinner feature. Up until this point, Skinner has been not feature complete. It's been in beta, if anything. So you could argue that this is the launch of the fully realized Skinner tool set. So while I have dabbled in Skinner, I haven't really dug too deep into it, and I haven't, like, tried to make my own brand of skins because I knew that more improvements were going to come that would likely render the previous efforts moot. And here we go, right? Like, if I can use 2 patterns now Well, that's way better than using one pattern before. So why would I make compromised skins prior to this when I knew that further improvements were coming? So with this happening, I think it's going to be worth sitting down and actually like making some pretty badass skins for everybody. And I could even do giveaways, right? We could do a skinner thing where we make a skin and then we do a giveaway and I just contract it directly to the person for free. So you only have to pay the Evermarks. To celebrate this expansion, over 40 new patterns have been added. These can be found through gameplay in various locations around New Eden. Until November 26th, a special set of Revenant expansion login rewards will be available to everyone who logs in, including an expert system for deathless ships, pattern and nano coatings for skin. You know, when I read that there was an expert system for deathless ships in the Hobo leaks, I was like, okay. Okay. But now that I see that we're getting it for free, that's kind of cool. It's like, hey, at least you get to go try to play with these ships that nobody can get yet. Up to 450,000 skill points, 10,000 Evermarks and boosters. To celebrate new edition of Skinner Tool, Paragon has reduced the sequencing time for skins by 50% until Tuesday, November 26th. Add a new skill exclusive Paragon partnership for reducing Paragon Hub vendor fees while selling skins by 1% per level. That's on top of everything else. Then there's all of the corporation project improvements, right? Which they've talked about a lot. I don't really necessarily want to go into all of that because I think it's going to get really boring for a lot of people. But effectively, there's a lot more granularity in how projects can be made, deadlines can be made, what can be applied to, like what the specifics of what they want. You can have multiple parameters. It's a much more robust system that they seem very proud of on the stream. So it could be kind of cool. One of the things I do like is like, I think that I saw a thing where it's like, oh yeah, you can hack cans in these specific sites, systems or whatever. And you can do ship types or groups. So you can be like, oh yeah, frigates or battle cruisers. These are really good. Project deadlines and project participation limit. This is actually a really cool idea. Yes, you can just trade in adivums for the That's true. Yeah, we could pre-collect adivums, even though we don't know how many adivums are required to turn in. So you could pre-collect adivums with hopes that you're going to be able to turn them all in to get the correct amount of stuff. You don't have any idea how many adivums are going to be required for a full set or anything like that, though. So you can. I know I'm going to be hunting for relic sites this weekend. By the way, I've been doing a lot of exploration recently because of all of this. While I actually have been having a lot of bad luck when it comes to finding adivums, I will tell you that I am reminded as to how amazingly good relic sites are for ISK nowadays. Like I'm getting like 50 to 75 million ISK per site, sometimes 50 million ISK per can, or in a single can in a relic site. It's wild. All right, but the project participation limit is actually probably one of my favorite things about this, because one of the issues, like we'll put up a salvage thing because we want people to feel like they can do stuff, right? So okay, well we'll put up a thing for salvage, but then there's somebody who has like 10 times as much salvage as we need, and so they just dump it in and finish the project right away. And every single time this happens, I just think to myself, well, fuck, why didn't we just contract it to me and I'll buy it the old way, right? Like if we were going to do that, if I was just going to buy it from one person, why wouldn't I just put out a post? It's like, hey, does anybody have this? And then just buy it from them and like cut out this entire process. So having a participation limit means that everybody can like dump whatever they want to get their portion of it out, but it doesn't make it so that like, well, I can't put up a thing requesting intact armor plates because I know that these two people are just going to fill it every single time. And now all these other people will never be able to turn into it because every single time I put down a new project, it's just instantly filled. Now I can be like, okay, well, only 10% of the project can be done by any given person. And that makes it so that there will always be... Oh, I yeet out. Yeah, Tweak. I yeet out. I even did a couple streams about it recently. New ship information window. I think it's actually pretty cool. I like the fact of how flexible it is in its size. Some people are like, "Oh, it's such a waste of space." But then if you actually watch the video and you watch how much they can crush it down, it's not a waste of space. It just looks nice. Yeah, the window can now be resized to smaller than the previous version. This allows the player to maximize information density without sacrificing utility or usability. Immersive additions, in-universe information on the ship's designer and attributed quotes related to the hull has been added to flesh out the place. Destroyer Abyss for high-sec. I don't... Wait. Hmm. I can't decide if the Thalos is going to be good for the Abyss or not. I think the Thalos has a really, really good chance of being good at the Abyss. It doesn't... No. Malik, think about it this way. So you can go with like artillery, right? So you've got your artillery for things that are absolutely require you to be at long range. So like the rogue drone battlecruiser. You could even like dip in really quick and do one breacher pod and then break away from the battlecruiser potentially to get extra damage in. But as long as you can do some damage at higher than 10 kilometer, then you'll be able to at least pass the battlecruisers. But then, yeah, the Potato, the Drifter battlecruiser, the Triglavian battlecruiser, because here's the thing. Oh my God, here's the thing. The Triglavian and the Drifter battlecruiser, they're damaged. They're injured. They still have that raw hit points. It's just they're injured. So you're still going to do damage based on their total hit points, not their injured hit points. These things are going to be really fucking good. It could potentially be really good at the Abyss. Unironically, you've got the rockets and the potentially like Arty for smaller or faster or whatever stuff. You could theoretically go with autocannon. Anything that allows you to hit past 12 kilometers. As long as you can hit past 12 kilometers, which might be a bit of a struggle. But the Corax does it. Pair it with the Jackdaw. Yeah, exactly. Oh. Now we're talking. Now we're thinking with portals. This is good stuff. That's actually a really good idea. There you go. Congratulations. The high sec expansion. You can use the Thalos in the Abyss. All right. Attribute tab. Information within this tab has been reorganized to help navigate it more easily. God, I hope so, because, man, some of the stuff in these tabs have been so difficult to understand. I wonder if they're going to miss the script or not. 6 km range hurts a bit, though. Might be hard to deal with the grip drones. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, the drone battle cruiser, you just got to be able to hit. You're going to have to hit past 10 kilometers under the correct conditions, right? It doesn't even need to be that good. You just need to be able to do it. And you've got the drones too, though. I don't know, man. It's going to be rough with the rogue drone battle cruisers, but in almost every other scenario in the Abyss, I think that you can still get away with it. Maybe. I don't know. Skill requirements and masteries have been combined. Any player that might need to fly a ship effectively can be found there. Fittings tab. Fittings window in simulation mode. Showing the ship and its applied fitting. That's pretty cool. Variation within this tab now has links to open the hull within the ship tree. Cool. Skinner tab. Yeah. Okay, glorified mutaplasmids. This was the thing that we learned about today, right? This is the new hotness, okay? Which is that you can now break down bricked modules to get residue and then use that residue to build new mutaplasmids, okay? Now, we can look at these mutaplasmids and see that there's decayed, gravid, and unstable of most types. And then additionally, we have the residue. This is a dormant mutaplasmin. Excuse me. This is a dormant mutaplasmin residue extracted by reprocessing a piece of equipment bioadapted with a specialized mutaplasmin colony. So if Ty is here, this is it. You can actually reprocess all of them at the same time because it's just a reprocessing. When you reprocess an abyssal module, you'll get back this material. At least that's how I read it. Substance is not immediately capable of technology mutation without being integrated in a bioadaptive tool. However, it should provide useful starter material for the development of active mutaplasmin colonies suitable for use in bioadaptive technology. Triglavian bioadaptive technology makes extensive use of engineering colonies and extremophilic bacteria that are used to grow, harvest, and adapt various resources found in abyssal dead space. Artificial colonizing plasmids integrated into specialist tools used for direct application of technology can be found in Triglavian caches in various stages of development. These mutaplasmids can be used to alter the characteristics of a wide variety of equipment types, depending on the strain of the bioadaptive tool in which they are integrated. So I don't know how much of these materials you're going to get per item that's destroyed, but let's just assume for the sake of argument that right now it's one, right? You're going to get one residue. Actually, I don't even think that that's necessarily true. It might be based on size, but let's just pretend that it's one for now. We can go down to the blueprints and see that decayed blueprints take 25 of weapon upgrade mutaplasmid residue and 25 small mutaplasmid residue. So maybe you get one of each. I'm not sure. You can check if you look on HoboLeaks for an abyssal module, for example. Because it's easy to find stuff today on HoboLeaks. Oh boy. I'm actually going to move my Eve client to a different screen, which is going to resize it and confuse everything, but that way it's taking less resources. Maybe that's the reason why everything's being buggy. All right. Blueprints. Reprocessing? Ah, here we go. Here we go. Oh, yeah, okay. So a 50 MN abyssal microwarp drive comes with 20 astronautic mutaplasmin residues and 25 medium mutaplasmin residues. So a single Galaxy Conquest. Hey, Galaxy Conquest is on my phone. My phone's right here. It's fine. So reprocessing a single 50 meganewton abyssal microwarp drive will give you enough doodads to build a single excuse me. Oh, wait. What? I'm confused. Okay, so I get a decayed 50 meganewton microwarp drive mutaplasmid, and I combine that with 60 astronautic mutaplasmid residues and 60 medium mutaplasmid residues to make one glorified decayed. Nope, they don't actually tell you anything. Once again, the patch notes give us very little information, so let's keep looking. Glorified, unstable, small ancillary armor repper. Does this say... Nope, doesn't say how good it can be. So, like the stream. I'm going through all of this for you. Oh, because of reprocess loss. So yeah, that makes sense. But like, look at dynamic type data. Oh, thank you. Wait, is this a change? Because this is. Did they change the base mutaplasmids? Or is it just the picture? What causes these things to show up again, I wonder? All right, well, so a glorified decayed small armor plate mutaplasmid. Let's follow this all the way through. Okay, we have no. That's because the small cap battery mutaplasmids can be used with the micro cap batteries now. Okay, so it just makes it a good comparison. Oh, I see that little plus right there. That's what it is. That little plus is telling me what was added. I don't see these dynamics types very often. Thank you. Okay, so we have oh boy. Clearly that didn't work. Okay, so the small armor plate mutaplasmid blueprint takes 25 armor mutaplasmid residues and 25 small mutaplasmid residues and comes out with a glorified decayed small armor plate. We should probably do the cap battery one because of the other thing. But here, small armor plate mutaplasmid. Yeah, let's just go with small cap battery. Let's just follow small cap battery. Okay. Blueprints. Oh my God. We'll get here together. All right, reprocessing. We're going to start with reprocessing. What? Reprocessing. We have oh my gosh. It has never been this bad before. We're in blueprints. I don't want blueprints yet. I want reprocessing. There we go. No? Wait. What? Where's cap battery? There it is. Large cap battery. Small abyssal cap battery. Holy crap. Oh, because it's the small cap battery becomes small abyssal cap battery. That's the problem. Okay. Satonia plays all the time, by the way. I see Satonia in space all the time. He works for CCP now. Okay. So we have a small abyssal cap battery that's bricked. Jesus, it took too long to get here, but we're here now. That's going to give us 10 small mutaplasmid residues. Let's assume that we have to reprocess 3 of them to get enough doodads for the blueprint, right? And then that's going to give us a so with 25 of those small mutaplasmids, which again is like roughly 3 of the modules, will give you enough to do 1 decade. Or if you go with twice that, 6 modules, you can make a gravid. And with, call it 12 modules, you'll be able to make a unstable. Okay? Whoa. We got there so far. Now let's look at the difference between them. So a small cap battery mutaplasmid, the decade goes 0.95 to 0.125, or so, sorry, 1.25 for CPU usage. 0.95 but 1.25 CPU usage. 0.9 to 1.275. So it's already a little bit better. Capacitor usage 0.925 to 1.15. 95 to 1.1. So yes, it is slightly better than the original. And then the unstable 0.8 to 1.5. 1.7 to 1.55. So once again, like, so it's lower is lower and it's high is higher. So the glorified versions are like slightly more extreme versions of their base self that you can get by reprocessing them. And it seems like you can get them at a pretty reasonable rate if it's like 2 to 5 modules per new reroll. But you also definitely need oh, wait. That's right. I forgot. So it takes a decade. So it doesn't make one out of nowhere. It basically slightly improves a pre-existing mutaplasmid. So you can take a decayed small energy battery mutaplasmid and 3 abyssal small cap batteries, melt down those 3 batteries, stick them with the decayed, and make it 0.95 to 1.1. I'm not going to say 50% better. 1.5. Hold on. 1.5 what? 1.15 is the maximum for the first thing. 1.15. So yeah, it's somewhere between Decayed and Gravid. What website is this? HoboLeaks. So it doesn't make a new mutaplasmid, but it augments the existing mutaplasmid by like 20 to 50%. I would have rather it made it so that you can lock in one of your improvements than just re-roll again. Mutaplasmid residues can now be used in new blueprints found in regular abyssal content from Concord Rogue Analysis beacons to create 169 new, improved, and glorified abyssal mutaplasmids. They don't explain that the glorified mutaplasmids require the base mutaplasmid to build. Seems very weird. It seems like this is just a way for slightly more extreme modules to be possible without it necessarily being that convenient. That said, I know several people, including myself, that has large bricked abyssal module collections that can now be melted down and used for this stuff. I also find it really weird that like it takes large mutaplasmid residues and engineering mutaplasmid residues, given that you get them both from doing the thing. So I guess you could like melt down a bunch of small ones and then try to use it for a large one, but then you'd still need large mutaplasmid residues. You'd only have the engineering. I remain unconvinced. I feel like this is just a whole bunch of items added to the game that don't really do much. Marauders. Okay, now we're getting to the balance changes. Marauders are losing all of their battleship bonuses. Back during the rebalance of things, when they made battleships twice as expensive as they were, they said that they were going to fix this by making battleships stronger to compensate. And the stronger that they gave it was these bonuses to plates, extenders, and bulkheads. It was part of the bulwarked bulkheads patch. I know this because at first they weren't going to give them a bonus to reinforce bulkheads, and then I complained that the one type of tank bonus that wasn't improved during the bulwarked bulkheads expansion was bulkheads. So they gave me a little bit of a pittance 5%. But it seems like all of that's being lost to the Marauder, which is kind of weird because, like, I mean, I guess you can get, like, huge buffer. I've seen, like, buffer Vargers and stuff in, like, PvP and such. But, like, a lot of times Marauders are going to be based on their active tank. So, yeah, I don't actually see this bonus being removed being that big of a deal, considering a lot of Marauders want to be active tanked anyways. The intention here is to focus them more on their specialization on large bonuses to active tanking. Since active tanking requires capacitor, heat, and module management, the hope is that this will increase their skill floor and make them harder to use as the ships align and more difficult to multi-box efficiently. That's probably good. Then the Vargar also loses some fall-off bonus, because Lordy can the Vargar hit far out, and also lost some CPU. The Vargar keeps getting at least minor cuts away from its power over and over again. It is still pretty much the dominant Marauder. Even with the above adjustments to all Marauders, the Vargar still stands out as the worst offender among them. Yeah, like I said, the buffer Vargar is probably one of the biggest ones. Currently is the #1 highest damaging ship on average for kill mails in null security and wormhole space, so we're cutting it back a bit to the fall-off bonus to reduce projection with the autocannons and also reducing the CPU output. In Viridian expansion, we added a 6th low slot to the Vargar, which actually increased its fitting ability by allowing it to fit an additional coprocessor module, which inadvertently made it fitting multiple XLASPs much easier and viable, despite us reducing the shield boost bonus per level it had. I believe people were telling him about that at the time, but whatever. Now then, now we get to the change that's like, hey, CCP. CCP sent me a little letter. It's like, Dear Ashtarothi. Can't. My props aren't here. Dear Ashtarothi, this expansion is not all bad. You'll like the Deathless ships, but also, here's a gift from us. Signed, CCP. Absolution gains 10% additional bonus to damage, increasing it to 20%. And a 5% rate of fire bonus for energy damage turrets is removed. So basically, the Absolution... And move it back over here because it didn't really matter. Oh my god. What happened? If I pull up the APSO, we see it has a trait bonus of 10% bonus to medium energy turret damage, 5% bonus to medium energy turret rate of fire. Now, both rate of fire and damage, it has nothing to do with you flying an APSO on stream last month. I always fly an APSO when I get a chance. But so obviously both of these are damage bonuses, right? A 10% damage bonus just increases your damage by 10%. A 5% rate of fire bonus means that you attack 5% faster, which does mean more damage as far as DPS, right? Now, by losing that rate of fire bonus, but doubling the damage bonus, you're actually increasing its total damage over time, period, right? Because, like, if you think about it, 5% faster firepower and 5% more damage per hit actually is the same increase in DPS. So a reduction in firepower rate of fire by 5%, but an increase in damage by 10% is an overall increase in damage by 5%. But it actually has another piece to all of this. And Satonia just said, oh, this has nothing to do with you flying an APSO on stream last month. You know what? I'm putting on my tinfoil. It fucking does. Okay? Here's the thing. I don't think this is actually true. But, so you're telling me that after less than a month after I go on a stream where I pretty fucking famously run out of crystals, that you guys make it so that crystals break slower. Is that you want me to believe that? You want me to believe that this is a coincidence? Because a couple weeks ago, I took my Absolution out, and as I was shooting, my crystals broke, and I didn't have any resupplies, and it was a big, like, hullabaloo for a little bit. The biggest effect here is that not only is this a damage bonus, but it actually slows down how fast you're breaking your crystals. This makes it so that your crystals last longer. Because if your damage is coming from it cycling faster, then that means it's using your crystals up more quickly. But if it loses its damage speed, cycle speed, but increases its damage, now you're getting more damage per shot from your crystals. You're getting actually more value out of your crystals altogether. So I appreciate it, CCP. I flounder on a stream once. You guys fixed my problem specifically, and I really appreciate that. Oh boy. The Absolution is struggling a little for usage while giving a bit of quality of life. This change keeps the overall damage per second of the Absolution the same as before. Wait, hold on. What? Somebody explain to me. Can somebody explain to me how increasing damage by 5% but cycle time by 10 by increasing damage by 10% and cycle time by 5% results in the same amount of damage? Am I crazy, or does that statement make sense? I'm gonna have to sit down and do some math. So if I do like 100 damage, I'm not gonna do it on stream, but somebody just tell me if this makes sense. 10 effective turrets versus 5. Right, but okay. Yeah, the Vargar did I wouldn't call it a huge nerf, but it definitely is a nerf. No, seriously though, like, I said something very matter-of-factly earlier. If I increase my rate of fire by 5%, or if I increase my damage per shot by 5%, they should have the same increase in damage over time. Right? That's what I've always thought. Firing 5% faster. Am I stupid? Do I not know how math works all of a sudden? Huh. 10 effective turrets, 5, 1.5. At level 5, that's 80% of the previous rate of fire and 25% more damage. Yeah. Wait. It's 50% more damage. Okay, hold on. The old bonus was 5 times 1.25. Oh, God. 5 times 1.25. Oh, my God. Message retracted. Okay. Old bonus. .8 times 1.25 equals 1. Oh, no. Oh, no. I think you're right. Hold on. 0.8 times 1.25 equals... Wait, what? Hold 0.8 times 1.25 equals 1. Huh. But it's not... Wait, hold on. It's not 1.25. Okay, whatever. You know what? Screw it. It's the same amount of damage. It just doesn't go through the crystals as fast. Doesn't go through your capacitor as fast. Fine. Whatever. I believe you. I'm wrong and silly, and I'm still going to find my absolution. How about that? Can we just agree with that? Myrmidon Navy issue. Let's go more straightforward. Damn it. Armor repair amount per level increased by from 7.5 to 10%. So big bonus to its survivability. Local reps. Base velocity increased from 155 meters per second to 160 meters per second. And agility improved from 0.7 to 0.67. Okay. That looks fine. You know what? I just did the math. 0.8 times 1.25 equals 1. I don't actually know how that applies to all of this, but I think that everybody's telling me that I'm dumb and wrong. So I'm just going to go with dumb and wrong. Wait, yeah, you're right. Hold on. Wait. Oh, no. Never mind. What? The old is... Wait. The old is 5 times 1.5? What? Because it's... Right. Okay, Satonia's right. No, Satonia's right. Satonia's math makes sense. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's true. No, Satonia's correct. It was 5 turrets times 1.5 divided by 0.75. I think it's times 0.75, isn't it? Hold on. Wouldn't it be times 0.75? Lordy. No, nobody. Okay. The balance will reduce damage per second, and the alpha should hopefully stay the same due to the increase in damage output in the balance. Or maybe it might increase. No, the alpha will increase. The alpha has to increase because it's the raw damage per shot that's increased. Rate of damage bonus. Okay. We're going to go. We're going to keep moving. We're going to keep moving. I'm generally consider myself as being pretty decent at math. But I just had a very core concept of my understanding of how MMOs work just completely shattered. For like 20 years I have operated under the understanding that a 5% rate of fire increase and a 5% damage increase are effectively the exact same thing. So a 5% reduction in rate of fire combined with a 5% addition in damage should balance, but it doesn't. It's one of those assumptions that I've just had in my head and I've just never really checked. I guess it makes sense because it's multiplying. All right. The Myrmidon Navy issue is currently the least used combat battlecruiser in the game, so we're making some improvements to the mobility and repair amount to help it out. Many players doing PvE do not feel like the Myrmidon Navy issue is worth upgrading to from the Myrmidon, since its stasis web of fire drone bonus isn't very valuable in PvE. The only use drones if you don't rely on higher damage hybrid weapons is not attractive of an upgrade. And in PvP, it's fairly slow and can be difficult to use in blasters, and we're hoping the increase in repair amount and speed will help it stand out more for both PvE and PvP. Cool. I think that they should also improve the web bonus, but that's just me. Rate of fire always gives more damage now. You know, whatever. Harbinger Navy issue. Power grid increased from 1495 to 1550. The Harbinger Navy issue currently has low usage, so we're increasing its base power output up to the same as a regular Harbinger hull, which was buffed in an earlier balance pass in which the HNI missed out on. And then the Cyclone Fleet issue gets nerfed. 1215 megawatts to 1100 megawatts power grid, and the rate of fire bonus for missiles is reduced from 9% to 7.5% per level. The Cyclone Fleet issue is incredibly dominant right now. That is true. So we're making some adjustments to bring it back in line. We're reducing the power grid on it so it can be a harder time fitting 100 MN afterburners on large cap battery modules for fleet fits. And we're also lowering the rate of fire bonus to tone down the damage it can put out. Executor Navy issue. Oh, they keep nerfing my girl. Medium hybrid fall off bonus reduced from 10% per level to 7.5% per level. Base agility reduced from 280 meters per second to 270 meters per second. Agility nerf from 4 to 4.4. What? I thought higher agility was better. I feel like I'm losing so much. Signature radius increased from 110 to 120. Executor Navy issue is still incredibly dominant and the most used Navy ship in the game. So we're making it a small suite of changes, reducing the fall. We can't let Galente ships be the best in the game. That is unacceptable. We must nerf the Executor Navy issue. Does not matter how good the Caracal Navy issue is. No. Increasing attack speed is not the same as calculations as reduced cooldown, and Eve works by reduced cooldown. Yeah, that's a good argument. Stabber Fleet issue. No new bonus added. 5% bonus to meteor projectile turret fall off per level. Very good. SFI can sometimes feel awkward when upgrading from the regular Stabber by losing its fall off bonus, and the SFI could also use some love. So we're extending the smaller fall off bonus that we added to the Republic Fleet Firetail last winter to the Stabber Fleet issue to improve its versatility. That makes me very interested in a Stabber Fleet issue, to be honest. Distinct module icons. The following modules have been given unique icons to help differentiate them. Heat sinks, gyro stabilizers, entropic radiation sinks, and magnetic field stabilizers. I take everything back. This is the best expansion in EVE Online history. Oh my god, so good. Why haven't they done this earlier? I will no longer accidentally fit heat sinks onto my railgun ships. I am so happy right now. I take everything bad back. Let's start the entire stream over. Let's just go with that. They are changing the icons for modules that look alike. Oh my god. I'm still gonna mess it up. I promise you that. I've given out so many fits before where they're like, hey, can I have a fit for something? And I'm like, here you go. And they're like, why are there gyro stabs on this Galente ship? I'm like, I don't know. I've been using that ship for months. Revenant, best expansion ever. Let's move on. Actually, what's fun is that Oki is that with the way that tools work, most of those tools won't need to necessarily be updated because they pull their images from the image server based on its type ID. So it'll just pull the new image, at least for like web tools and stuff. Like, so if you go to like Zkill, for example, and I look at this Tatara, probably the wrong answer. Let's look at this Kikimora, right? And we're going to open the image in a new tab. We can actually see that it's, oh, you can't see it. It's images.evetech.net/types/49710, render size 32. You can actually change that 32 to 512, and then it gets bigger. So like there is actually like they host all of the images. So this will just automatically be updated that moment. That's like in the moment. It's Revenant because people will stop saying Eve is dead and has risen. That's a good. Why Revenant? Finally, the weapons upgrades will look different from each other and different from drone enhancers. I know, right? Low-key best fucking patch note. Capacitor recharger, capacitor flux coils, and capacitor power relays look different from each other. Shield recharger, shield flux coils, and shield power relays look different from each other. Awesome. Perfect. Biochemical material icons. All biochemical materials now have unique icons. The icons match the color interior of the boosters that they relate to. Perfect. That's for like reactions, for like boosters and stuff. That's fine. Nullsec combat anomaly graphics and gameplay overhaul. This is something that they showed off in the... Yeah, those are different too now. Or they will be. Right now, they're all the same, which is a pain in the ass. All right. Several combat anomaly sites in Nullsec have been renovated. All variations of the Forsaken Sanctums, Havens, Patrols, and Hordes have had their full art and assets renovated. Over 100 different Nullsec anomaly sites have now had have an objectives panel so you can easily see what wave you're on and how many NPCs remain at a glance. Several NPC groups now warp in instead of spawning in place where appropriate. People are already bitching about this. I've seen some people bitching about how, yeah, they can keep the Tholos. I'm happy with the new icons. I like the Tholos too, don't get me wrong. Several NPC groups now warp in. So like people are complaining that now the warp in is going to make it take longer. They call it a nerf to ratting. I think that that's a bit of a stretch. But I do imagine, like, there seems to be a weird disconnect where CCP seems to think that their volumetric clouds and other things that they're adding into the game isn't affecting performance, while I am constantly still seeing people bitching and moaning about the new, like the new larger buildings and especially the volumetric clouds. Like it's causing a lot of problems for people's computers, and they can't seem to be able to turn it off. So the fact that they're adding those into the nullsec ratting sites, like low key, I think that this is going to be the biggest pain point to come out of Revenant. Unless they somehow do this a lot better than I'm concerned about. But what they showed off during the stream, hold on, let me see if I can find that. Read on. Some volumetric clouds are part of the graphical update. Please note that they can potentially impact performance and multiboxing. To mitigate this, we've added a setting that disables cloud when low shitter quality is selected. Fine. All right, fine. They win. Uh uh here are the new sites, by the way. Ooh, they've got God Rays. No, I read as we go. Good camera work, though. Although I don't think that people rat very often to ooh and ah at the sites, but either way. Rogue Drone relic sites have been added. 4 new relic sites have been added to Rogue Drones in Nullsec, allowing intrepid explorers the opportunity to find and discover ancient salvage materials and other valuable rewards. Okay, Potchfin changes. The optimal total value of the site has been reduced from, observatory flashpoints, which are the big moneymakers, right? That's the Dread site. The optimal total value of the site has been reduced from 3.5 to an average of 3 billion ISK. On average, 40% of the site's total value will now be given in the form of new stellar survey data commodities. These commodities can be looted from the Stellar Observatory Rex. NPC buy orders for these commodities can be found in Concord, DED, and Secure Commerce Commission stations. Only capsuleers within 50 kilometers of the Stellar Observatory are considered eligible for payouts. The minimum amount of contribution to be eligible for payouts has been increased. New threshold warpost sentry guns will aggress any capsuleer who goes beyond 50 kilometers of the Stellar Observatory. So not only if you go outside of 50 kilometers are you no longer going to be eligible, but there's also going to be special warposts that blap you if you get outside of 50 kilometers. And we looked into it. It's like 600 kilometer optimal range on those things. So seagulling is officially dead. It only took them 4 years. 3 years. Once within the main combat area, capsuleers will now have 30 minutes to complete the site. Any Edencom factions can now appear within the site, weighted towards the Empire that owned the system before Potchfin's formation. NPCs will now behave more intelligently within the site. Specific Edencom NPCs will prioritize attacking drones. Edencom NPCs will remember which capsuleers have engaged their faction between areas and waves. Triglavian NPCs will only be hostile to capsuleers who have attacked them or their fleet. NPCs will now orbit at ranges more suited for their weaponry. So just general balancing for the site itself. Sites are now visible within the combat anomaly section of both the air opportunities and agency windows. Info panel objectives will now appear to help players keep track of the site's current state. The activation range of the assault vector gate has been slightly increased. Edencom NPCs will now significantly outnumber Triglavians within the assault vector area. That makes sense since you're like, it used to be that the site was either or, but now it is just an Edencom dread. Yeah, it's an Edencom site now. Like, you go in as a Triglavian and you kill it. Cloaking is disabled while in the proximity of the Stellar Observatory. Microjump drives and microjump field generators are disabled while in the proximity of the Stellar Observatory. Warp drive, well, that's to make it, like, if you could microjump drive, you'd microjump drive and then instantly get blapped by the warpost. Warp drives are disabled while in the proximity of the Stellar Observatory wreck. I remember they did that. They did that originally with the Dread. Pop-up and local chat messages have been replaced with one-time transmission conversations. That's pretty cool. A new controller has been added that plays atmosphere for the station based on race. New atmosphere plays for Amar, Kaldari, Galente, and Mimitar small, medium, and large stations. And that's it. That's the patch notes. That's the whole thing. And now I'm so tired I can't remember if there was some other things I saw. Wrestling with this Hobo Leaks is exhausting. So we still don't know what the Heart of Darkness is, although, like, we're just now this is as I predicted yesterday a little bit. This is just the beginning of the war. He's saying prepare for the war. This is the very beginning of it, not like the launching point. This is when we begin to muster. So we've still got a little ways to go, and this goes back to what I was saying last time too, which is that this really seems to be a signpost as to where we're going more than where we are. One of the things I thought was really cool is that there's all these new quotes that are being put in from all these different lore characters, including Vepis and Estimal and Esri Hozotsu and Mordu. Hoping for a dope launch trailer. Yeah. I keep holding out hope, but we'll see. I assume that these are all going to be part of the ship, like the ship unlock for the first time cool video. Oh, right. the other big thing that's worth noting is that we now know the name of the structure in Zarzak. That is one thing that we do have, which is it is named the Warden. We can actually see in here. If you go here to the decryption trader, it says a special suite set up with access to facilities within the Warden is capable of breaking upwell encryption on incoming infomorphs that are free to be re-embodied. In exchange for this service, the Deathless Circle will reward anyone willing to aid encrypted infomorphs by bringing them here. And this facility is part of the Deathless Circle research efforts here and within the Warden itself. They study Adavum in hopes of gaining new insights into the ancient show of technologies. Anyone who supports their research by bringing more Adavum will be rewarded. And then down here, the smoking gun is the Shrouded Structures has been renamed the Warden. What? Why? How? I don't know. Mercenary dens are the only means of acquiring encrypted infomorphs, digitized consciousness to be traded at the Warden structure in Zarzak. They must be deployed next to temperate planet skyhooks. Requirement: a mercenary den to deploy eligible skyhook. A mercenary den management skill trained to at least level 1. Coming soon. Development and anarchy values that will positively impact encrypted infomorph production. Mercenary tactical operations. Like, the biggest feature isn't even done yet. Isn't even ready until later this month. I can only hope that the reason why this is because... Here's the thing. I think that these mercenary dens and the encrypted infomorphs and all this stuff is going to be tied to Vanguard, right? So that is my one hope that I'm holding on to right now, which is the reason why this is coming soon is because this whole anarchy and the tasks that are required are going to be somewhat related to Vanguard, but we'll have to see. Oh yeah, there's lots of quotes. I'm assuming that these are probably for all of the different ships when they first get unlocked. Whole bunch of new colors and other such things. Oh, there is new skins? Specifically, we have... Nope, hold on. Where is it? There is too many things. Yeah. Here we go. We have a Luminaire Polaris skin for the Cinnable, Daredevil, Vigilant, Vindicator, Vendetta, Vehement, Revenant, Tholos, and Cenotaph. So chances are this is going to be part of the winter event that's going to be coming in December. So next month. Usually these are going to be part of like the reward track or login rewards or both. The Vendetta and Vehement are pretty rare ships though. So, And then there also is some new Empyrean Outlaw skins. Come on. Luminaire Polaris, I thought are normally free? Hold on, let me check. No. You're right. Luminaire Polaris skins are premium. So yeah, that's probably from a pack. And then in Empyrean Outlaws, also likely from like packs or whatever. We have for the Tholos, Cenotaph, Enforcer, Monitor, Drake Navy issue, Scorpion Navy issue, Harpy, Nighthawk, and Widow. Yeah, Aurora is usually the login. Lumen is the reward. I don't have any Luminae Polaris skins, though. There's Luminaire Zenith skins, but I don't have any Luminaire Polaris skins, which means I think that means that that's the premium ones. Yep, here we go. So the Winter Festival pack included the different Luminae Polaris skins last year. Right? This last year? Yeah, last year. Right? Last year? Yeah, last year. Yeah, Glacial is the event. Correct. So, yep. But that is it, man. That is me digging through what scraps of information that we've gotten for what's happening next week. I hope that you found this video more informative than CCP's video. You should probably go back and at least go check that out. Maybe I missed something. If I did miss anything, please comment it down below. Also, here, if you're watching this live in about a half an hour, my first like guide on how to do EVE Galaxy Conquest, how to build a good fleet, is coming out in like at the top of the hour. So you'll have that to check out. But please make sure to like the video. This has been kind of an exhausting effort to try to, piece together what information I can based on what we have just this morning. So if you appreciate what I do, let me know, and do so by liking the video and, of course, sharing it with some people, especially given the fact that there is so little information out. Maybe people need some of the missing pieces filled in, and hopefully this video helped a little bit for some of you. But either way, I think I'm going to just say that I've been Ashtarothi. I've been playing this game since 2010, talking about it since 2012. I'm put ease into context for you, my fellow Empyreans. You're right. You're right. You're right. This expansion is a couple of minor features, and the big hallmark is icon changes, which, boy, I unironically, it makes me very happy to see that being done. Yes, make sure to like the stream. Oh, hey, Zoria, what do you think about all the changes? Do you have anything to say about the changes yet? No? I think all she has to say is, I'm tired, why did you pick me up? All right, well, I've been Ashtarothi. She's been Zoria. Until next time, I'll see you in space. 07, whoop! Oh, next week, I don't imagine that I'm going to be streaming on Monday. If I stream before Tuesday, this is what I'm going to say. If I stream before Tuesday, it's either going to be EVE Galaxy Conquest or it's going to be on my second channel. So please pay attention to my Discord if you want to check out me streaming another game or something like that. I do not plan on streaming EVE again on the main channel until Revenant is out. I could change that, but that's my current plan, just so you guys know. 07. Buy merch!
Bring on the wrecking machine. For every city